here. Welcome. So as I mentioned earlier, we are going to make this quick change on the agenda. Jean is going to do a quick presentation and demonstration of the participatory budgeting process. I hope it's been successful. We think it was great that the idea has been proposed, and Pete sent out a message at one point with a sampling of some of the projects that have been proposed so far, a lot of them around Trafficami, but it's great to see all the ideas that are coming up. The process is still going on, so we want to continue to encourage people to come to the table and submit proposals, and Jean's going to help us figure that out.
Perfect, thank you so much, Joan. So just very briefly, the District 3 office is engaged in participatory budgeting. This is a pilot project I think most of you have heard about, but essentially it's an opportunity for residents of District 3 to figure out how you want to spend $100,000 of the city budget. And right now we're in the idea collecting phase, which is really trying to reach out to everybody who has an idea about what they'd like to see in their community and to get it captured on this website. The deadline for project submission is January 31st, so we're really trying to do a push between now and January 31st to get as many ideas populated on the website as possible. We also know that not everybody has access to a computer or is comfortable using a computer, so we printed out forms in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese that people can submit their ideas on paper, and then we'll data entry those ideas onto the website so they're just all captured in this one spot. But what specifically Joan asked me to do was to show you how you can put an idea on the website. I know we've gotten some feedback that it might not be as user-friendly as possible, and so we're trying to make adjustments to that, but we also hope that people won't feel inhibited from putting ideas on there because it's a little bit clunky, so I know it's a balance. So before I move forward, any questions?
How many proposals have you received so far? Do you know?
I would say based on that list, anywhere from, well, not counting the non-paper ones, I would say we're probably about 75 to 100.
Nice. Pete, you have a question?
Yeah, Stephanie, are you familiar with what this participatory budgeting stuff is all about?
Oh, I heard about it from the elementary grade.
Okay, so you know,
Great.
okay.
So I
Perfect.
We don't want to be talking about something silly.
Great.
Yeah,
So
great.
everyone's comfortable with what, we all know what PB is in general, right?
Can you submit on paper tonight or not?
Yes, I will get those forms and give them to you to both fill them out yourself or to take them out into the community, either way. So the website is d3decides.com, and so we're just going to test this out, right? So I want to share an idea that I have. And so you go to this page, and this is, I'm just going to be explicit about where we've heard things are confusing, so you're like, okay, well, how do I submit an idea, right? You have to click the close box. Is that on there okay? I know the map's a little bit cut off. Okay, so you just click close, right? And then the list of categories pops up. So these are the categories in which we are trying to get people to put their project submissions. Streets and sidewalks, parks and rec. Can somebody let Lydia in on the 14th floor stairwell? She's stuck.
I'll get it. Oh.
So you can see people have started, so like Antonina, she's put some ideas here under arts and culture, right? So people are identifying different areas in their neighborhood and suggestions, and it could totally be like some random thing you thought of this morning when you were taking a shower, or it could be some collective, project or you guys have been working on for forever. I think one thing that's important is that you don't limit your ideas, because these ideas are going to impact the budget and they're going to impact other work that we're doing. So, so this is just a sense. You can see some of your neighbors and friends and what they put up here, and then people can comment on the idea. So if Dee says she wants to do, stop signs, and Pete says, no, I want yield signs, and you guys could have like a conversation about that. Thank you so much. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to share an idea. So I have an idea on art and culture. So I'm going to share my idea. And my awesome idea is to have,
Oh, the keyboards.
oh, thank you.
There, it might start working now.
Let's see.
You can recognize
There
the touchpad first.
Neighborhood specific art signs. You guys know the historic Hensley, they have like little markers when you go in. I think those are super cool, and it would be neat if every neighborhood had that. Neighborhood specific art signs, right? So that people could celebrate their unique communities and the identifying markers, right? So that's just it. So then I think that falls into arts and culture. There's some things that overlap. It's not a science, so don't worry about it. It doesn't fit. And then name here. And then you've got to put your contact information. Okay, and I've got my personal email address because it's short to type. Your phone number. And then etc. Right? How many people in this room so far have done a project online? 1, 2, 3. How many people will have submitted a project online before January 31st? Perfect. Okay. So then you submit, right? And then that idea gets populated on the website. And so now if Lovey thought that that was the worst idea or the best idea you'd ever heard, or you had something that would enhance the conversation, then he can comment on what my idea is. So hopefully this will work. But that's the general sense, right? And so it's both easy and sometimes it's a little bit hard to find that spot on the website. Oh, I see, because I didn't put where I wanted it. Perfect. Okay, so I want the, this is not even in District 3. Interesting. Perfect. Thank you. So this is a great example of some of the things that aren't, you can see the cluster of District 3 projects, right? So I'm going to say that I want mine right there.
So you have to choose a specific area.
Right. Some will have, like, I want this located on this intersection, and some are just going to be District 3 specific, so you might not have a specific area. Yeah. So Pete wants to put a wayfinding kiosk at the convention center. And I would say, brilliant. I'll tell him I told that. You know, and then, exactly, right? So any questions on that?
No, that looks great.
Again, you know, we're experimenting with this. I think we're learning what works with the website well and what doesn't. But people are using it, and we want to continue to emphasize idea collection between now and January 31st. Just the other kind of PB updates I'll give since we're talking about it is we had an orientation this Saturday at Notre Dame High School with about 27 D3 leaders, and we're going to present that same program tomorrow night here at City Hall from 6 to 8. So if anyone wants to learn more about participatory budgeting and how to get involved as a budget delegate, which is really kind of where the meat of the work is, you're more than welcome to come.
Where is that meeting?
That's at City Hall in the wing room. I don't know, but I'll put a sign up right there. It's either 118 or 120.
6 to 8.
But yeah, 6 to 8 p.m. We'll have pizza and we'll have a good conversation. And then I think people will leave there feeling really clear about the different ways they can participate outside of suggesting project ideas. Right?
So I had a little problem when I was trying to upload my 2 ideas for the Roosevelt Park neighborhood with the map. I thought I was on 26th Street, but then when I entered it, it popped up on 24th Street. I was like, wait a minute, no. Couldn't fix it. Second, then I just went, okay, I'll move on. So then I did the same exact idea for South 28th Street, and then that popped up on 26th Street, I believe. And I was like, okay, so then I made a little comment on the bottom of that. So
You clarified on the comments.
right, that
Okay.
this goes here and this goes here.
Okay.
But I thought, well, was that my mistake or was that?
No, it's the map. The map is
Okay.
funky, and we've been having a challenge getting it to work right. Lydia and I are meeting with the consultant on Friday, because the other thing it's doing oddly is it's identifying neighborhoods that are outside of D3. So like there were like multiple projects in Little Saigon, and I'm pretty sure that's not in our district. So we're figuring it out, but don't let that stop you from submitting ideas. And before I leave, I'll go upstairs and get the paper forms, so you guys can also have those if you want to fill them out here or if you want to take them with you. But we can just get them back to anyone on the staff over the next couple of weeks, and we'll take care of getting them completed.
Perfect. So I guess based on these experience, you really want to identify in the idea where you're talking about either that or plan for a 2-block variance on the map.
Yeah, I think it's good to add the specifics in the comment regardless probably of the map, but yeah, if you're feeling like it's not super accurate.
Okay, any questions? Liz?
Is there an opportunity for editing after submission? And I forgot my other question.
So I can respond to that first. So here's how the process works. Everyone and anyone can submit project ideas. And there are some criteria that have been established about how the dollars can be used. And primarily the criteria says that it has to be capital projects that don't have an ongoing cost, and things you're all fairly familiar with. However, part of the role of the budget delegate or these super volunteers that we're having these orientations for is that you, by the categories that we've identified, will take all the projects and look to see how you might be able to knit them together or look and see how they might be able to be blended. So the budget delegates would go back to someone who suggested a project if they have clarifying questions. So you can't resubmit, but if your project meets the eligibility criteria, there'll be a dialogue to figure out how that gets packaged into what gets put onto a ballot.
Okay. And you answered my second question, which was, are you going to be contacting the people who submitted if you need clarification?
If they're, yeah, which is why, because at first I thought it was kind of an extra step to have people put their contact information here, because that might be an obstacle to putting an idea. But no, that's why they're on there, so that we can have a two-way communication with that.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Jean, thank you so much for taking the time, and thank you for offering to get those paper.
Sure.
Forms.
I'll go get them, and then the boss will make more announcements later with me.